Developing a business strategy can be hard, but for many companies, executing that strategy is the real challenge. At Greencastle Consulting, we specialize in turning your strategic visions into reality. All of our projects begin with developing a deep understanding of our clients' unique needs and challenges, utilizing our GSD framework. It's an integrated tool that helps focus on what really matters for project success, allowing us to provide a comprehensive view of project health and direct our clients to successful outcomes. First, we work with your team to align focus, reviewing your existing strategy, identifying key sponsors, and ensuring necessary governance structures are in place. From there, our focus is on driving results. We provide comprehensive oversight of scope, schedule, and budget to keep your project on track. Throughout the process, we make sure your team is positioned to accurately communicate progress. We continuously monitor stakeholder engagement, business readiness, and performance measures, allowing you to accurately report progress across your organization. We understand that time is limited when it comes to strategy implementations. That's why our approach focuses on prioritizing actions with the biggest impact on project success. Together, we'll identify what's working, fix what isn't, and build on what's strong. The GSD framework is built for businesses of all shapes and sizes, regardless of your industry. Get started today on turning your strategy into reality.
What's up, humans? Welcome to another episode of Shots from the Winchester podcast, brought to you by Greencastle Consulting, your nation's premier strategy execution firm. We're having a really good conversation right now, and you can join us. We're going to be talking about the GSD framework, and we're here with Adam Holstein and Tom Morgan. And Tom, I think you and Adam both worked together to create this GSD framework. And it's something that's unique to what we do here at Greencastle, and I think that's something that you guys are out there are going to really key in on. So let's just jump right in. Let's find out first who these guys are, just in case you never met them. Let's talk to Adam.
Yep, appreciate it, and I'm happy to be here. My name's Adam Holstein. I'm the VP of Talent Management, and I've been with Greencastle since 2015.
Nice.
And I'm looking forward to the conversation. You probably gave me a little bit too much credit with the GSD framework. I've been a helper along the way, but really Tom's been the key driver and the originator of this.
Nice. And Tom Morgan?
Yeah, hey everyone, Tom Morgan, so U.S. Army veteran, and then senior principal here at Greencastle. Been here the past 7 years. My anniversary is actually coming up in August.
Oh, wow, nice. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's really cool. So you are the architect of this GSD framework. Is that how it's being framed here?
Yeah, so and a lot of it was based off of a lot of conversations that we had, and we really came to the realization that everything is based on having a shared understanding of the project. And so basically what we did is we took our project experiences and evaluated things that typically take projects off course or bring things off track. Yeah. And how can we kind of control or at least influence those variables? So we really kind of realized from our project experience that everything comes down to having a shared understanding and building a shared understanding where everyone kind of sees the project in the same way, whether they're a sponsor or a stakeholder, or a team member. Yeah. And everyone has a clear picture. And Greencastle has always taken an integrated approach to projects. So they've always focused on integrating project management, change management, and process improvement. So it's kind of a natural evolution of a lot of the existing methodologies that Greencastle had, and just kind of create something easy that people can see. The other thing we look to do is, because a lot of times we jump into the middle of a project and there's a lot of things that are already going well, or outcomes that you're trying to achieve are already being met. So when you come into something, can you take an assessment of where they're currently at and then kind of recommend a way forward based off of our project experience? And what we do best with is really getting stuff done. Nice.
Which is the framing of GSD, get stuff done.
Yeah, and actually Joe Crandall came up with that name for it, and I think it fits well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as Tom was bringing this up, that's what the piece that really spoke to me in my experience on projects. Some of these in the early days we were doing together, and I think there was always a struggle in that you apply the PMP, you apply the industry standards, but that it's not necessarily a one size fits all in these types of critical initiatives that we manage. And meeting the clients where they are is really important, and it's something that we've always done, but it wasn't something necessarily that we had a very formulaic approach, and that's what I really like about the GSD framework. Will make that a little bit more sustainable for us and easy to translate to our company as a whole, and as new GACers, new veterans come into the company here.
Nice. Now, as a segue to that, we were talking earlier before we started this about how this benefits the GACers. How are we implementing this for the GACers?
Yeah, absolutely. And that does lead right into that, because one of the things that we do, we have a pretty robust onboarding program here, which we talked about on another podcast a couple months ago. We start with the industry standards, and I think that's really helpful for new veterans coming in, and so they can start to understand the terms, and be able to speak a little bit more in civilian than they're accustomed to in their veteran careers. So we start them off with getting them PMP training, change management training, Power BI. Get them accustomed to those types of things. And Greenbelt, they get accustomed to that, but that's not necessarily the Greencastle approach for some of the reasons that I was mentioning. So this I really see now going forward, now that we've launched this and we've piloted it and we know that it's successful, it's really a great tool for us to bring GACers up to speed much more quickly on what is the Greencastle approach to getting stuff done. And they'll have that foundation of those industry standard certifications, but now we'll have this as a tool to train them on and for them to use when they go forward to helping out clients. To be able to implement their projects successfully.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of clients, how does this benefit the client?
So I think the biggest benefit to the client is it gives us a lot of options, and we can use it client facing and share it with the client, or a GACer could just use it internally as they approach a project. But now when we come on, what we've really seen is what we want to do is achieve outcomes, for our clients and those positive outcomes. So when we go into a project now, we essentially have the ability to do an assessment, and it's kind of consistent across projects, and see, are you achieving the outcomes that you should in these different areas? And if they're not, then we can say, hey, these are the best ways that we've achieved an ideal outcome in these spaces before. So it gives us a lot of options where we can jump into a project rescue, and then we can kind of take an assessment of, all right, where are they at right now, and where are the biggest gaps that we could address, and then we can come up with strategies, to address those areas. And it also gives us the ability to check in, and we can see, how do different stakeholders, feel about it, or assess those gaps, so we can come up with strategies to kind of improve that. And like what you said is, everything comes down to, is there a shared understanding of what we're trying to accomplish and how things are going, so that you can apply the appropriate resources to those. And that's, I think, where Greencastle is a great partner.
I think another aspect of this is that I really like with the approach of the GSD framework, and I keep saying meeting the clients where they are, is that risk is a great example of where folks have different risk tolerance in their personal lives, and companies have different risk tolerance in how they handle their business. Some of that's just different regulatory requirements and things like that. So the GSD framework takes that into consideration, and as we're making recommendations for how robust of risk and issues management, just as an example, does your project need? Well, part of that's based on the client culture and environment that they're operating in, and that's something that we take into consideration, and the GSD framework helps us do that. So, that's just a big aspect for me that helps customize our approach for what is needed to make their project successful.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's a great call out, because one of the things we sought to do, because we have all sorts of different projects we do, different clients in different industries, is, do we have something that could be a consistent framework that we could apply to a bunch of different scenarios?
Right.
Whether we're like planning to move to a new office and it's going to take 3 weeks. It gives us the framework to make sure, and we can check on like, hey, we've addressed everything to like a complex software implementation. And it works in like an environment with like a high level of governance, or an environment that has like little governance. Yeah. And it's a model that is scalable too. So when you're talking to C-suite, to working with directly with managers and subject matter experts, that you can at least apply in framework, and there's use and value in it.
Nice. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Because one of the things that you have to be careful about in project management and managing these strategic initiatives is sometimes you can just get caught in just doing over planning, developing too many project level material deliverables and archives, and making a super complex schedule. But if that's not really what is needed for the particular client, that's not seen as valuable. If it's not seen as valuable, it's not seen as necessary, it's not really going to get utilized, and it might actually hinder your ability to accomplish the project at a certain point, because you're devoting too much resources and time to a particular aspect of the project that really isn't critical in the current environment. So
nice.
It's a difficult thing, and it requires a lot of nuance and judgment.
Yeah.
And that's where our teams come in, and we can apply that based on our experience of thousands of successful project implementations.
Nice.
That we're able to use that judgment of, okay, what type of schedule is needed and appropriate for this type of project, in this type of industry, in this type of culture,
right.
And basically what's needed, what's the kind of minimum needed to successfully get the job done, and we're really great at identifying that, and the GSD framework just made it so much easier to do.
Nice.
Yeah. When we did the initial kind of like workshop to come up with this, one of the concepts that got talked about is like a baseline JPEG versus a progressive JPEG, and we have this fuzzy cat picture. And so essentially the goal is to have like this progressive JPEG where you have a picture and you can everyone can see, all right, this is what you're drawing, and as you go through the project you increase like the level of clarity on it as you plan those. But starting from the beginning, you have enough to give people a picture. Yeah. And I had a few lessons, and one, you try to engage with stakeholders, but if internally you're not aligned, it's difficult to kind of communicate externally. Yeah. And a few project experiences, and one I had was the program level schedule was kept becoming irrelevant because it was inaccurate and it was hard to maintain, and we were changing. But I looked at one of our release schedules, and it was super beneficial, and we were able to keep it accurate. And so then we kind of broke down, like, what are all these other factors that we need to control for so that we can make sure that our schedule is effective. And so a big piece is kind of making those connections on an implementation. These are all the different factors that you need to account for. And this is like the relationship, and you can't really do this perfectly if these other areas aren't addressed. So it gives a holistic view of the implementation that's, I think, helpful for our clients. It's helpful for our delivery, and also when Adam's teaching new GACers, it's like they're drinking from the fire hose for the first month. So it gives them kind of a model of where to kind of put this information that they're getting.
And this is like the GSD framework is like a plug and play model for implementation in any aspect of the project that you're entering. So like if you're entering from the beginning, you've got a full suite of things that you can access for like trying to figure it out. But like if you end up in the middle of a project, and you can still use this GSD framework to structure where you're at and where things need to go.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one of the things that we saw, like we thought was really important when we built this, because a lot of times we'll hop in the middle of a project at the beginning. So let's take an assessment of where are you at currently? Are you kind of achieving the ideal outcomes in each of these areas? Right. And if you're not, let's take a look, and we can come up with steps to address those. Or if you are starting at the beginning, here are some things that you can do to get that initial fuzzy cat picture.
Yeah.
And get everyone aligned.
I like that
and
analogy.
Kind of build out.
Yeah. How unique is this in the industry that we're working in right now, in consultancy, I'd say?
Well, I think Greencastle has always had a unique approach where, we have a generalist approach and we do really well when we're partnered with subject matter experts. So what we help do is kind of develop that shared understanding and talk to different departments and talk to different people to get people seeing things, from the same perspective and understand like what's needed to make the project successful. So I think it helps in that sense. And I think that's Greencastle's integrated approach, I think also helps because, for example, for like change management, what we really learned for change management to be successful, you have to understand, well, what was their current state? And then what's the future state that they're going to? And what are those key pain points that are being addressed? And what capabilities, enable the future state? Yeah. So having that picture lets you do like really effective change management. So we wanted something where we could pull everything together. So I think in that way, Greencastle's approach is really unique.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially in the industry that we're working in, there's like a lot of different aspects of how to operate in certain aspects of implementation. Yeah. Having something that's this solid that makes it so like when you walk in the door, you already know what needs to be done based on the model. Which I think is very unique in some cases. Like you mentioned, having someone just walk in and say, you start fiddling with something that's not necessary to fiddle with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this keeps you on track.
Yeah, and it lets people do what they're best at.
Yeah.
So if you're like a developer and you need to code, or you're a business leader and you have multiple big projects that you're running, like it helps Greencastle fill those spots and have things framed up for you so that you can either make the decisions or do what you have to do to make the project successful.
Nice.
It really does tie back to that veteran experience. And like you said, we've always been doing this is from a Greencastle perspective, and this is helping to tie that together so much neater for us going forward. But so much for us coming out of the military and our experiences as officers or senior enlisted is it's become normal for us to just bounce from one place to another with critical initiatives that you get on a moment's notice and you gotta learn real quickly and then like flawlessly implement. And the reality is oftentimes you're not the subject matter expert, but you have this mission focus and you have to get the job done, right? And that's the experience that a lot of us have had in our military background. So if we can just help folks, which we found, and this is where our success has been, is get to know that civilian structure and those standards, and then adapt your experience, learn from the Greencastle approach. You can really leverage those military skills, and that's where I'm just so excited that we've really packaged this experience so much better together now going forward, and put it in the hands of the really awesome veterans that we have coming into the company all the time, and just continue on with that mission focus, but now. For Fortune 100 companies across the country.
Yeah, that is one thing that makes especially Greencastle so unique, the veteran base that we have here. And just like you said, having that ability to just implement and shift gears right away, because that's what we're used to, and so like it just makes perfect sense.
And that's even the part of the model at its simplest is based around this shoot, move, communicate, right? So that's like automatically many of the veterans that we'll have it'll make sense to them, and help them just like hit the ground running, say, okay, I got it. Whereas some of the other industry standard methods, they're just you can wrap your head around it, but it's not necessarily our approach. We need to understand what it is, but it's not the Greencastle way.
Right. This or that. You guys ready for that?
Yeah.
All right. Great. This one's the easy one to start with. Always start with this one. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Your dog?
So we have cats.
Yeah, I have cats.
We have cats. I mean, Yeah, we've gone with the ease of cats. I like them both. I do like.
You can
them both.
go on vacation and come home and they're still there.
With the kids, we haven't been able to commit to the extra work that a
yeah.
dog is yet. But definitely in the future, I want one. Yeah.
All right, here's a good one. Led Zeppelin or Van Halen?
Zeppelin, definitely.
Zeppelin?
Yeah.
You're a Zeppelin guy.
Zeppelin for me too.
Yeah. I like Zeppelin. I love some Van Halen.
Van Halen's good too.
Yeah, I love some
like
Van
Halen.
Halen. Winter or summer?
Summer.
You summer guy?
Yeah.
Summer for me too.
Summer for me too. Winter or fall? I mean, I'm sorry, fall or spring?
Fall for me.
Fall. Yeah,
for
you got
me, too.
football
Yeah.
and
I think the sky looks
cooler
nice too
weather.
around that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite time of year, really.
Yeah. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
iPhone
for me,
yeah,
too.
iPhone. Although I'm a little concerned about the whole AI thing that we're moving into, but I won't get into that.
Well, it won't be any better on the Google side.
Oh yeah. This one might. Oh well, I guess it depends on your age. Transformers or G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe.
You G.I. Joe?
Transformers.
Yeah. I would have to say I'm probably. This was a hard one. I would want to say that I'm a G.I. Joe, but I'm a huge Transformers fan. Yeah. So like it's a hard one for me. So I'm going to say Transformers.
I would be a little more Air
I'm
Force.
going G.I. Joe, but I'm more of a Ninja Turtles guy.
Yeah.
I was
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles for sure. Sneakers or dress shoes?
Sneakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More comfortable? Because you guys are
Are
sharp.
you saying more comfortable? Yeah, certainly sneakers.
Certainly sneakers.
I don't. If you mean like around the office, I'm still dress shoes.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
doing
Oh yeah, around here is that. Yeah. Theme parks, Disney or Universal?
I've never been to Universal.
Yeah, so I guess Disney, but I went to Silver Dollar City recently and was pretty impressed.
Oh really? So what is that?
So I guess it's in Branson, Missouri. So we went down for their Christmas parade, and it was pretty awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something I've not experienced. Yeah, there's a lot of theme parks out there. I think my favorite would be Universal. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of aged out at Disney for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, I can't fit into the teacups, so
Yeah.
you know.
That's when you knew it was over.
That's when I knew it was over. Yeah, I was like too tall for the thing, and it's too much. I can't do it. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for giving us a high-level conversation on the GSD framework and everything like that. On behalf of Greencastle, your nation's premier strategy execution firm, I'm your host, Al Green, Adam Holstein, Tom Morgan, and we'll see you in the next episode.